If you are a parent watching this in the middle of summer and feel exhausted, frustrated, or even wondering why your child's ADHD seems to be getting worse instead of better with school out, then I want you to know two things right away. The first is you are probably not imagining it. Summer can genuinely be harder for the ADHD brain than the school year, and I'm going to explain to you why. The second is what you do in the next 4 to 6 weeks before school starts can shape how your child enters the new academic year. And not in a perfect way, I can't promise you that, but in a way that gives their brain a real chance at a stronger start. Hi, I'm Dr. Larthenia Howard, a licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified neurofeedback practitioner, and ADHD certified clinical service provider. I'm also a former K-12 educator and school principal, so I sit at a unique intersection of understanding both the family side of the summer struggle and the school side of what is coming in August. This video, I want to walk you through exactly why summer dysregulates the ADHD brain, the 4 factors most parents miss, and a practical brain-based reset you can start this week. So come on inside and let's explore this topic together. Let's start with something that most of us don't think about that often, and it is that the ADHD brain depends on external structure more than the neurotypical brain does. And that's not a weakness, it's neurology. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles planning and organizing, transitioning between tasks and regulating attention, develops on a different timeline in ADHD brains. So when external structure is present, like the rhythm and the predictability of a school day, the ADHD brain has scaffolding to lean on. It doesn't have to generate all of that structure internally. The day is doing some of the work. But if you take that scaffolding away, which is exactly what summer does, and the ADHD brain has to all of a sudden self-generate the structure it has been borrowing from the school year. Wake up time, what to do first, when to eat, when to transition, when to settle, how to fill empty time. All of those decisions, which the school day quietly answered, are now landing back on a brain that struggles with executive functioning in the first place. So what looks like worsening ADHD symptoms in July is often not worsening ADHD at all. It is the ADHD that has always been there, now operating without the scaffolding that was masking how much external structure your child depends on. The good news is that this also points to the solution. We don't need to fix your child. We need to rebuild scaffolding and rebuild it in a way that the brain can actually use. Before we talk about the reset, I want to name 4 specific facts that I see most often in families during summer. Most parents are aware of 1 or 2 of these, but rarely do we recognize the impact when all 4 are working together. The first factor is sleep disruption. When schools end, bedtime drifts later, wake-up times drift later, sometimes by hours. Even when total sleep time looks similar, the timing of sleep matters enormously for the ADHD brain. The nervous system depends on consistent sleep-wake rhythms to regulate dopamine, attention, and emotional reactivity. So a child going to bed at 11:30 p.m. and waking at 10 a.m. during the summer is not getting equivalent rest to the child going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking at 7 a.m. The biological clock is off, and the ADHD brain feels it. The second is screen time creep. I'm not anti-screens. I want to just say that clearly. But screen time during summer often expands well beyond what families would normally allow during the school year. ADHD brain is particularly drawn to fast-paced, high-stimulation content or video games, short-form video, anything with rapid reinforcement. The problem is that these formats can train the brain to expect constant stimulation, which makes the slower pace of real life feel intolerable. So by August, transitions away from screens often produce meltdowns that were not happening in May. The third factor is loss of predictable movement and outdoor time. During the school year, even kids who hate gym classes are getting movement and outdoor exposure built into their day. Recess, walking between classes, PE, the school bus stop. Summer often replaces that with stationary indoor time, which means less natural regulation, less sensory input to the body, and less sunlight, which affects their circadian rhythm and mood. The ADHD nervous system needs movement to regulate. Without it, dysregulation increases. And the fourth factor is unstructured time triggers anxiety even when kids won't say so. Many parents assume their child loves unstructured summer days, and sometimes it's true. But for the ADHD brain, especially when ADHD coexists with anxiety, which it often does, large blocks of empty time can actually be activating, not relaxing. The brain doesn't know what is supposed to happen next. And the lack of structure isn't freedom, it's uncertainty. And uncertainty drives nervous system activation. Children often can't articulate this, so what we see instead is irritability, snapping, boredom that flips into frustration and refusal to make decisions because the brain is overwhelmed by having too many options. When you stack all four of these factors together, disrupted sleep, expanded screens, less movement, and unstructured time, you have a perfect storm for an ADHD brain, and families are sitting in the middle of that storm right now. Here's the good news. You don't need to overhaul your entire summer. You don't need to run a boot camp. What you need is a gentle, intentional reset over the next 4 to 6 weeks that rebuilds the scaffolding your child's brain has been missing. So let me just walk you through that here. There are 4 shifts you can start this week. The first shift, anchor the day with 2 fixed points. You don't need a full schedule. You need 2 predictable anchors, one in the morning and one in the evening. And you're going to pick a consistent wake up time and a consistent bedtime, even if they're later than the school year times. Move them earlier by 15 to 20 minutes each week until you are aligned with your school year time by the week before school starts. The brain is far more responsive to gradual shifts than to sudden ones. The second shift is to build movement into the first half of the day. Outdoor movement before noon does triple duty for the ADHD brain. It regulates the nervous system, it supports the circadian rhythm, and it activates dopamine, which improves the rest of the day's executive functioning. This doesn't have to be elaborate. It's a 20 to 30 minute walk or bike ride, swim, or yard play. All of it counts. The key is consistency, not intensity. Shift number 3 is to replace empty time with predictable rhythm. Instead of trying to fill the day with activities, build a simple rhythm that your child can predict. Mornings might be outdoor and active. Mid-morning might be creative or learning or a learning block, like reading, art, building something. Lunch is consistent. Afternoons might include screen time within a defined window, plus an outdoor outing or social connection. Evenings wind down with consistent routines. The structure doesn't have to be elaborate. Here again, it just has to be predictable. And the fourth shift is to reinforce cognitive load gradually. By midsummer, many ADHD kids have not done sustained cognitive work in weeks. Their brain is out of practice. 2 weeks before the school year starts, begin reintroducing small cognitive tasks. That can be a workbook page, a reading session, a puzzle, a board game that requires sustained attention, just 20 to 30 minutes a day. And this is not an academic catch-up per se. It is the brain conditioning, getting the prefrontal cortex back in shape for the demands that are coming. These 4 shifts applied gently over the next 4 to 6 weeks can transform how your child's brain enters the school year. Now I would like to speak to a different group of parents, the ones who already know that what I just described isn't going to be enough. You have been working hard. You have tried structure. You've tried routines. You've tried screen limit, and things are still hard. The fall is coming and you are afraid in some way because you remember last year. You remember the phone calls from the school, the homework battles, the meltdowns, the way your child's confidence eroded month by month. You don't want to do that again, but you also don't know what else to do. And if that's you, then I want to talk about what brain-based support actually looks like. At Anchor of Hope Family Counseling and Neurofeedback, we work with families through what we call the ADHD Clarity and Regulation Pathway. It starts with 2 assessments most families have never had access to: a QEEG brain map that shows us exactly where regulation is breaking down in your child's brain, and an assessment that measures attention and impulse control in real time. That gives us actual neurological data, not guesswork. From there, we move into brain education, neurofeedback training that helps the brain learn to self-regulate more effectively, and parent education. So what we are doing in sessions translates into what is happening at home. The entire program is fully remote, so we work with families across the country. Starting brain-based support now in July or early August means your child can enter the new year with the assessment complete, the first weeks of neurofeedback underway, and your family already equipped with brain-informed tools. And for Florida families with Step Up for Students scholarships, the program may be covered by your scholarship funds. We are an approved Step Up for Student provider, both for counseling and neurofeedback services. If any of the information in this video resonated with you, then I would love to talk. The first step is an ADHD clarity call. It's a free 15-minute conversation where we listen to what your family is navigating, we answer your questions, and we help you decide whether our pathway is the right fit. The scheduling link in the description. Whether or not you ever work with us, I want you to walk away from this video with one thing. Summer is not making your child worse. The lack of brain supportive structure is, and that is something you can begin to shift this week. If this video was helpful, please share it. There's another exhausted parent out there in July who needs to hear that they are not failing and is a path forward. Thank you again for being here with me and being on this journey with us as we continue to explore possibilities for the heart and mind. I'll see you in the next video.